There's one last additional way that we can attempt to find this if we don't want to use all these calculations and we have access to one of the charts in the pilot's handbook, which you can see there. We can just use the information from our readings as well as this chart to get a quick estimate of what our density altitude is. So I made up an example here. We've got our airport elevation of 5,883 feet. The outside air temperature is 21 degrees Celsius, and the altimeter reading, which just tells you the barometric pressure, says it's 30.10 inches of mercury. So a few different steps. There's only one very simple calculation you need to use this table. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find that column, that black column on the left part of it that says altimeter setting, and it says inches of mercury. So it may be hard to see here, but that value on the left that's kind of highlighted in gold as well says 30.1, which is my barometric pressure. So all I do is I look to the right of that in the other column, and that gives me my pressure altitude conversion factor. So again, it might be hard to see, but it says minus 165. So the only calculation I have to do is take my airport elevation or my aircraft elevation, 5883, and add negative 165 or subtract 165. If I happen to have values that were not near the bottom of this column where they're negatives, if you look at the column up above, you'll see there are plenty of positive conversion factors. I would add them. So I'm subtracting the 165 because I have a conversion factor of minus 165. Once I have that pressure altitude, I'm then going to go on the bottom and find my temperature reading. So the outside air temperature is 21 degrees. So that's what I'm looking at with that circle. And if you follow this line I'm about to draw, I'm going to go up and I'm going to try and find that pressure altitude that I calculated, 5,718. Please note, we are not going by the scale on the left, the one that goes from 1 to 15. We're looking at the diagonal lines that go from negative 1,000 and then sea level 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, so on. So if I want 5,718 feet, I want to go somewhere. Here's 5,000 here. This diagonal line, 6,000 is here. So I'm almost like tilting my head and looking at the scale this way. So I need to go a little bit more than halfway between 5,000 and 6,000. I estimated that roughly there is about 5,718. So I've combined both my pressure altitude, the 5,718, and the temperature, which was 21. And then I simply just look over on the side and see what that lines up with. So I can see here, I have to estimate, but rough estimate 7,700 feet because each of those values on that scale on the left are in 1,000 feet. So again, maybe you estimate 7,600, something like that, just as long as you're close to it. This is a nice quick way to determine what the density altitude is without having to do all those calculations. Either one is fine. You'll have to do both to prove to me you can use them. But if you do have this, the chart from the pilot's handbook, it'll be a bit quicker.